Atlantis is an island mentioned in Plato's works Timaeus and Critias, where the island is described as bigger than Libya and Asia together, and represents the enemy naval power that besieged ancient Athens, Plato's representation of an ideal state. Plato, who derived his story from the Egyptians, described Atlantis as having a main city with a royal palace made of ivory, gold, and silver. The city featured rich canals, ships, temples, and even a horse racing track. In the story, Athens was able to repel the Atlantean attack, unlike any other nation of the known world. At the end of the story, the gods, angered by Atlantis' greed and corruption, unleashed floods and earthquakes on the kingdom, sinking it into the sea in a single day.
The bulk of Plato's account is clearly fictional. The war between Athens and Atlantis takes place more than 11,000 years ago, at a time when the civilization he describes could not possibly have existed, nor could his picturesque Athens. But Plato's use of vivid details has led scholars to speculate that his fabled island was based on a real place. Some believe Atlantis is Spartan Island, a man's shoal in the Strait of Gibraltar that sank into the sea 11,500 years ago. But I believe Plato combined elements from different times and places in the background of the description for his utopia. The distribution of the Atlantean Empire seems to match that of large, broad stone monuments in Western Europe and North Africa. The geographic description of the island Atlantis is based on an island that is still standing today, Ireland. Just like Atlantis, Ireland is 300 miles long, 200 miles wide, and features a central plain that is open to the sea. I have looked at geographical data of the whole world. Of the 50 largest islands, Ireland is the only one that matches Plato's description of Atlantis. I started my studies believing that Atlantis never existed, but now I'm convinced that Plato knew of Ireland. He obviously blended fantasy and fact, but the question is not whether he made something up. It's if he made everything up, or if he based it on some real data. With every high probability, the answer is that he based it on actual geographic information. Ireland comes out as the only logical location for the central island of the Atlantean Empire in Plato's text.
Satellite photos of southern Spain suggest that the island of Atlantis was in fact a region of the southern Spain coast that was destroyed by a flood between 800 and 500 BC. These satellite photos show rectangular structures and concentric circles that match very well with Plato's description of the palaces and the city of Atlantis. These rectangular structures could be the remains of the temples described by Plato. When transmitting the Atlantis story, the Greeks may have confused the Egyptians' word for coastline with one meaning island. The plain described by Plato could be a plain that extends today from the Spanish southern coast to the city of Seville. I cannot say certainly that Atlantis was located in southern Spain, but this photo suggests that we could take a closer look at this location.
Now I'm going to tell you where everyone thinks Atlantis was. So first, everyone thinks it was in Spain. But I personally think it is not in Ireland. It is Ireland. So, yeah. So, we can now know that it was somewhere in this place.
A year ago, I started a trip around the world. When I was staying in Melina, I wanted to go diving, so I went with some friends to spend the day on a boat. When I was diving really deep, I found this thing covered in sand. It was like some kind of relic of a dynasty of centuries ago. I was confused, but I kept it, you know? I was so curious, I went to see an expert in all cultures who couldn't tell me who had owned it, but he did tell me it belonged to civilization, which used to live close where I found it. So that's how I found out about this city, Atlantis, searching on the internet and all that kind of stuff. Most of people say it has never existed, but I'm not totally convinced. So the next day I heard the police and the government have started a search on the Malagasy coast, and that sounds really strange to me. You know, I've been there just some days ago, so it was really, really strange. But if you think about it, it does not sound that strange, because the city was full of fortune and wealth and resources, for example. So it's not so rare that the Spanish government had hidden it. So yeah, I'm honestly